Morning. I'm Gary LaBarbera, President of the Building and Construction Trades Council of New York, and I serve on the board of Climate Jobs New York. Welcome to the Climate Jobs and Just Transition Summit. This was originally scheduled to be an in-person summit, and it would have been great to see you all in person, but going virtual means we can include a number of people who wouldn't have been able to join us in New York, and it's great to have you all here. After Superstorm Sandy, the Worker Institute at Cornell convened a group of labor leaders to look at what labor's role should be on climate. Three things were clear to us. One, climate change was already affecting union members and disproportionately affecting vulnerable communities. Two, labor had a lot to bring to the table in terms of driving bold climate action. And three, we had to be a part of shaping new clean energy industries. If you think about oil and gas jobs that became good, family-supporting careers, that didn't happen automatically. It was because they organized. And the same thing is true in the new green industries. There's a lot of opportunity to build the clean industry economy of the future with good union careers. And we have to act and keep pushing for action. We know there's urgency around climate crisis. We know there's urgency around the growing crisis of extreme inequality. Climate Jobs New York exists to combat both of those crises. But this moment is especially crucial for our mission. Millions of Americans have lost their jobs, and we're spending more on economic recovery than ever before. Now it is the time to get it right. Now is the time to spend our tax dollars wisely and both put people back to work in good careers and take on climate change. Today we have the opportunity to hear from labor leaders, scientists, environmental justice advocates, policy makers, rank and file activists who are leading the way. We have the opportunity to engage in crucial conversation about how we shape a green recovery. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm looking forward to today's sessions and working with many of you going forward to continue this important work. And now I have the pleasure of introducing my friend Mike Fishman, former Secretary-Treasurer of the SEIU, one of the founders of Climate Jobs New York, and more recently, one of the founders of the Climate Jobs National Resource Center, which is doing exciting work around the country to help labor lead on climate in a number of new states. Mike?
Thanks, Gary, and good morning. I want to welcome all of you to this virtual 2020 Summit on Climate Jobs and Just Transition. I'm Mike Fishman, Executive Director and President of the Climate Jobs National Resource Center. Today, as we witness the fires in California and Oregon, we see up close and personal the effects of climate change. Each one of us can name the particular way we are experiencing climate change, from the small changes in your garden, to the heat waves of the summer, to the devastating storms of the hurricane season. We know what climate change means. We know it affects every one of us. We know that it hits working people and communities of color first and worst. And we know what is causing it, and we know we can do something about it. At the same time, we see the rising pain of inequality. It is a stark reality that inequality is increasing and that it takes a heavy toll on the lives of working poor, the unemployed, and on communities of color. It shows up in the statistics of the deaths from the coronavirus that are disproportionately borne by Black and brown families. It shows up in the deaths of young Black men in our communities, by the choices we have made about how to live during COVID-19. Who has to go to work and who can stay home? Who is living and who is dying? These are the crises of our time, and it is time to do something about it. The Climate Jobs National Resource Center was formed after the success of Climate Jobs New York to be a resource for labor throughout the country, to lead on climate change, to develop our own view of how to combat climate change, and at the same time, ensure that we were creating family-sustaining jobs. We are at the dawn of a new age, a green revolution. We must tackle the crisis of climate change, but we also have to make sure that the new clean energy industry and the new green economy invest not only in clean technology, but in people. Tens of millions of jobs will be created in the new clean energy economy. And we have a choice about whether these jobs will continue the policies of inequality or whether they will create family sustaining jobs and careers for working people. Through climate jobs, labor is building a coalition of the willing of unions dedicated to fighting climate change and to create union jobs. Together, we can tackle both of these crises, but we have to work together and fight together to make this transition one that works for everyone. That's what this summit is about: climate jobs and a just transition to the new economy. It's a historic moment. Let's make this our moment together. We have a great event ahead of us. We're going to start with a lightning round of keynotes from an inspiring lineup of speakers to address the ways that climate change and inequality are inextricably linked, and to talk about the importance of taking on both at the same time. Then we'll dig into a panel discussion about the importance of labor leading on climate, followed by a panel focused on building a green recovery from the current economic crisis. At lunch, there'll be live music as well as a chance to catch up with other summit attendees through the event LinkedIn page. The link to that page is below. After lunch, John Podesta and I will be having a conversation about the national landscape, the state of the climate movement, the labor movement, and the prospect of a green recovery from this economic crisis. After my conversation with John, we'll have a panel discussion on securing a just transition out of fossil fuel for workers and communities across the country. And then we'll address a number of crucial topics in concurrent sessions, including climate change and racial justice, building a robust, equitable offshore wind industry in the US, retrofitting buildings for energy efficiency and solar power, building a 21st century transportation system, and building climate jobs organizations to drive progress in new states. At the end of the afternoon, we'll reconvene to close out the day with key takeaways and cap the event by honoring champions of this work, including Senator Chuck Schumer, nurse and climate activist Nea Pineda Marcon, NRDC President and CEO Gina McCarthy, and Transport Workers Union President John Samuelson. Again, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. We're looking forward to hearing from you throughout the day. And don't be shy about reaching out after the summit is over.